Good morning. So, I've had a few questions about how to come up with extra practicing hours. So today we're going to talk about that. It's 4 a.m. in Oklahoma. So, I have a wife and 7 children. Very busy guy. The way that I find extra practicing hours is I get up very early. So right now it is 4 a.m. I set my coffee for 3:45. That way I get about 3 hours of practice in before the kids even, are leaving for school for the day. That helps, me be a part of my family and also lets me get done some of the stuff I need to get done. We're going to go over some of the things that I practice in the morning, the way that I look at my personal practice regimen, and I'll even go through a bit of it with you here on this video. So, if you're looking for those extra hours, I always tell students, gotta wake up. All right, well, let's get to it. All right, so a couple of things before we begin. Number one, I am usually practicing standing up. I have a full-length body mirror that I use when I practice, and this is so that I can monitor my right and left hands and economy of motion. I can find any sort of tension, or maybe I'm hiking my shoulder up or something like that. I suggest this to all my students so that you can monitor your technique with right and left hands. I think it's just a really good idea. Second of all, I'm playing through a small solid-state amplifier. No effects, no reverb, no overdrive, no nothing. I'm playing through the bridge pickup. So when I'm practicing those 3 hours in the morning, that's all I get. I don't get a pedal board, I don't get reverb or anything. Okay, I know a lot of people like to play on the neck pickup a lot, but I find that playing on the neck pickup is a really good way to kind of soften your tone and kind of mush all the notes together. And I know a lot of people kind of use the neck pickup because it sounds better to them clean, but I think a lot of that is because they have possibly sloppy technique. So playing on the bridge pickup is like putting a microscope on your picking technique. And my goal when I'm practicing is going to be completely clean technique so that you don't hear any sort of buzz, you don't hear any sort of, you see, there's no buzz, there's no finger noise, there's no pick noise, just like minimizing all of that. And you can't do that if there's reverb on, and you can't do that if, you have like lots of effects, overdrive, distortion, or the neck pickup on. So, bridge pickup, really good. So this is limiting exercises, okay? So this is trying to focus on getting better and monitoring stuff. And then also I'll put the treble up a lot higher on the amplifier. We used to call those ultimate technique settings. If you practice, 6 hours a day with the treble on 10 on a small practice amp, and then you go to a gig and plug into your nice tube amp, you will play better, I guarantee. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to be doing in my practice regimen in the morning, anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes of warm-up. So for the warm-up section, what I'm going to be doing is just playing, maybe what's the key of the day. So I do all my stuff cycle 4. Monday is C major in all its modes. Tuesday is F major in all its modes. Wednesday is going to be B flat major in all its modes. Thursday is going to be E flat major, and then we're going to do A flat and D flat, F sharp, B, E, A, D, and G. Today I am on A major, and so what I'm going to start doing is playing things in A. I'm acclimating my hands, my mind, and my ear to the key of A major. Okay, so what is A major? A major is going to be A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp. Okay, and so the key of A major is going to have an A major chord, a B minor chord, C sharp minor, a D major, an E major, F sharp minor, and then we have a G sharp half diminished back to A. So I might go through and just collect all those things. Here's my A's, right? Here's B minors, if I want to grab those, right? I can go through and grab my C sharp minors. Or maybe all my D majors. Maybe throwing 7th chords too, right? Or all my E7s. Now, of course, you have to know where these things are, which is what the other part of the practicing plan is. But really what I'm doing is just kind of... I'm just, slowly playing things that I already know in that key to kind of acclimate myself to the guitar. All right, in the second section, I'm going to be going through the scales of the day. And so I'm just going to be setting a metronome up for, we're just going to do 80 beats per minute for the purposes of this exercise. This is an app called Metro Timer. And so this is going to monitor my time. I'm going to set it for 80 beats per minute. And then I'm going to do 10 minutes of scale practice. And I'm going to show you how I do that. So we do have the 7 patterns of A major. So here's pattern 1 starting on the note A. You guys have heard me talk about this a lot. Pattern 2 starts on the note B. Pattern 3 starts on the note C sharp. Pattern 4 starts on the note D. Pattern 5 starts on the note E. Pattern 6 starts on the note F sharp. And pattern 7 starts on the note G sharp. So for each one of these, you can hear this metronome here, I'm going to go eighth notes, triplets, and sixteenths. So I'll just do pattern 1 for you. I'm going to do that twice. I'm going to switch to triplets. Now sixteenths. Then I go on to pattern 2, eighth notes. And triplets. Act like I'm doing the whole pattern, right? And then sixteenths. Always ending on root. Okay? At the end of 10 minutes, that's going to ding, and then I'm going to have usually all 7 patterns of the key, plus a little extra time. And what I do there is I go through all my patterns. I go into W patterns. There was pattern 6 into pattern 7. Now I'm going to go up pattern 1. Here's down pattern 2. Here's up pattern 3. Missed a note there. Go back and grab it. There we go. It's a little bit harder looking at the camera. Okay, so you get the idea, right? So, and then the way that this works over the course of a month or two is 12 days of major and all its patterns. So, C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, F sharp, B, E, A, D, and G. And then I do 12 days of melodic minor. So if I wanted to make that A melodic minor, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, right? Okay. So I'm just changing one note to make it melodic minor. And then melodic minor has all its modes, Lydian dominant, the altered scale, all that good stuff as well. So 12 days of major in its modes, 12 days of melodic minor in its modes, 12 days of harmonic minor in its modes, 12 days of harmonic major in its modes, 6 days of diminished. That includes half whole diminished and whole half diminished, and then 2 days of whole tone. Okay? And that's the whole thing. And so the second part of the practicing regimen, the second 10 minutes, is going to be doing the triads in that key. So if I'm in the key of A, I'm going to start off, well, we have an A triad here, the lowest one that I have, and then I have B minor, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, back to A. And so as I'm practicing these triads, and I have videos and all this stuff as well, I'm just collecting everything. A, go to B minor, B minor, B minor, and then I'm going to do B minor, and then B minor, right? And then I'm going to go C sharp minor, right? Okay? And so you just need to know where all these things are. And so if you don't know where they are, you can use the time of your practice regimen to figure it out. So let's say I don't know where all my C sharp minors are. I know that a C minor is going to be C, E flat, and G. So C sharp minor must be C sharp, E, and G sharp. Okay? And so C sharp, E, and G sharp. Oh, there's another one, right? Or up here, this is going to be a E. This is going to be a G sharp and a C sharp. Okay? And so I just put those together, right? Right? And that's how you kind of learn those. Does it take a while? Yes, of course. So this is kind of the answer to the question of a lot of us when we're putting all this stuff together. Like, how did you practice 10 hours a day when you were in music school, collecting all this stuff? Okay. Well, why can't I just find a book to find it? And you'll notice there's not a lot of books on this stuff. Maybe I should write one. But yeah, it's one of those things where you're going to memorize it and be able to use it a lot more fluently if you're the one that finds it. Okay. I find a lot of stuff, if it's just, given to you or the scale is written out for you, you're not going to do it. You're probably not going to memorize it. You're not going to use it. That type of thing. Okay. And so I have different string sets, right? So I have my whole key of A major. So what did I do there? I was just starting at the lowest, second inversion triad. What's the second inversion triad? That's the 5, the 1, and the 3. So what's my lowest one? The 4 chord. D major, E major, F sharp minor, G sharp diminished, A major, B minor, C sharp minor, right? D, E. And so all I did is I just went up, and I want to be able to connect them in a melodic fashion. And these can become licks as well. Right? And so triads can be used in those types of ways. And then during the rest of the 10 minutes, I might go and do a chord progression with various triads. So if I went 1, 5, 6, 4, next one, 1, 5, 6, 4. Here's a 1, 5, 6, 4. Octave higher, 1, 5, 6, 4. I might do them up against the neck. C sharp minor, D, E, okay, and so I'm just playing those things, and that'll be my 10 minutes of my triads in the key of A, okay, and then the next 10 minutes are going to be arpeggios, 7th chord arpeggios in the key of A. So let's just take a random pattern. I'll just use pattern 3 since we haven't talked about it yet. That means all the notes of my arpeggios are going to be in here. So if I start off with my A major, it's going to be every note that's A, C sharp, E, and G sharp. So the lowest occurrence of that is going to be C sharp, E, G sharp, A, C sharp, E, G sharp, A, C sharp, E. So if I have 10 minutes to practice 7 arpeggios, I have to kind of, divvy it up. So I'm probably going to do 1.5 minutes for that. Maybe I'll find something that seems like I could use it later. And the important thing here, guys, is that when I'm practicing this, I'm not stopping. You got 1.5 minutes. This is why it's a good idea to be able to collect those things, okay? Here's my 2 chord, B minor 7. Okay, so it's going to be B, and then it's going to be D, F sharp, and A, right? So I'm going to find every B, D, F sharp, and A. So starting at the bottom of that pattern, it would be D, F sharp, A, B, okay? You don't just have to start at the root every time. I have to have the whole pattern. D, F sharp, A, B, D, F sharp, A, B, D. When I go to the 3 chord, that does start on the low E string. So I have C sharp, and E, and G sharp, and B. Okay? And then when that 1.5 minutes goes by, I'll go into my 4 chord, which is D major 7. What is D major 7? D, F sharp, A, C sharp. So the lowest note of that pattern is C sharp. Oh. My first 10 minutes got up. So, C sharp, D, F sharp, A. My 5 chord is E7. So I might come up with a roll or something like that. That might be effective in improvisation later. Then I have my 6. So this is kind of what it sounds like when I'm practicing these arpeggios. Just getting the whole thing in. And then G sharp diminished. Now, if you're trying to be like, whoa, what are all these? What frets do I go on? Just remember, we need our note recognition, and we need to know our patterns thoroughly so that we can find this. It's just every other note. So in the A major scale, A, C sharp, E, and G sharp is going to be my A major 7. My B minor 7 is going to be B, D, F sharp, and A. My C sharp minor 7 is going to be C sharp, E, G sharp, and B. My D major 7 is going to be D, F sharp, A, and C sharp. My E7 is going to be E, G sharp, B, and D natural. So that just kind of continues through that. Okay, so now I had 15 minutes of warm-up, and now I have this 30 minutes of scales for 10 minutes, triads for 10 minutes, arpeggios for 10 minutes. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on a backing track in the key of A major, and I'm going to improvise throughout the neck. So another thing that you could do is just put on a continuous eighth notes exercise. So like this. All I'm going to do I can't stop. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going through all the patterns of my A major scale, and I don't get to stop, right? So I just keep going, and then you're going to notice perhaps where you are, having a mistake or something like that. You're going to stop there and kind of fix it, or you can just improvise, and I usually do that for about 15 minutes. So this encompasses that first hour. So that first hour would be, like 15 minutes of warm-up, then I have 30 minutes of I have my scales, my triads, my arpeggios, and then 15 minutes of improvising in that key. And then I'm going to do 15 minutes of sight reading in that key. So you can do a couple of different things. If you are following along in Modern Method, one of the books that I recommend, you can do that. There's a supplemental kind of companion book to this called Reading Studies for Guitar, positions 1 through 7. And then you can go directly to the A major section of whatever pattern or section of the neck that you're working on and work on that. We also have Melodic Rhythms, which is another companion book to this. You can find something in A major. Just find anything in A major to read for reading studies. But the idea is that it's in that same key. And so after you're done with that, then you can start getting into the other parts of the practicing. So I might do a technique session. So I might be doing, let's just take, we were just in that pattern 3, right? So let's just say I'm doing like a descending 16th notes exercise. So okay, now I might do this in my picking exercise is cycle 4. So I might start in C. F. B flat. You get the idea, okay? And I'll go around all 12. And once I get through all 12 patterns, then I bump the tempo up. So now it's like 82. Then I go through all 12. Then it goes up to 84. Then I go through all 12. Then it goes up to 86. Then I go through all 12. And then, I write down in my journal for that day, descending 16th notes exercise pattern 3, starting at 80 to 90, whatever, how long I did that in 15 minutes. Okay. You might do like a lick of the day. and then do that for 15 minutes. So, we had that hour of stuff in A major. So after that hour of stuff in A major, you could start working on a method book. So I have like Modern Method here, do a half hour of that. One thing that I often do, you see my real book down here, is I will put on the real book and do comping. So depending on what song I'm doing, or maybe I'll be working on a problem that I need to fix, such as, I don't know, maybe I'm coming up with different versions of minor 2-5-1. So I might go, right? So I had that. D half diminished, G7 flat 9 to C minor, so I might go, and I might find another one. Or, right, so I'm working out different comping patterns and ideas so that I can have those ready next time I play a jazz gig or something like that. Okay, and so then after that, I might do some transcriptions. Like right now I'm working on an Ed Bicker transcription for There'll Never Be Another You, Have You Met Miss Jones? And so I'll work on that for maybe a half hour. And so I kind of saved the last half hour of this practicing for working on repertoire. And so I always tell students this too, like, save playing songs till the very end, because most of us, if we just start playing songs, that's all we're going to do. So if you have a band you're playing in, that type of thing, or like if I play in a country band, so I have those songs that I need to keep under my fingers, or maybe we have new tunes that we're doing for next rehearsal, I save that for that last half hour or hour. I might throw in another picking exercise or something in there as well. But the point is that everything is written down in a journal, and everything is going to be, timed specifically. That way I can monitor everything. How many times have you wanted to work on your scales for 15 minutes and it's been not 15 minutes, maybe 10, and you get bored, you try something else, or you feel like you really need to master it before you move on to anything else, and so you play it for 2 hours and you don't get anything else done. So, all right. Well, I know this video is kind of a little bit different, but I thought it would be a good idea to kind of talk about what can be a productive practice session in the morning. So again, we did an hour of stuff in the key of the day. So we did 15 minutes of warm-up. We did a half hour of scales, triads, and arpeggios, 15 minutes of improvising in that key, whether it's eighth note exercise or with the backing track, 15 minutes of sight reading in that key, then moving on to a technique exercise, rhythm guitar studies, whether that's with the real book or just coming up with good comping patterns, method books, working through a transcription. All of those are kind of half-hour blocks of time, and then ending up your practicing time by going through songs. And then you will have a solid 3 hours before anyone in your family wakes up. All right. Well, if this has been helpful, you can go over to my Patreon, where I have a lot more information on all these different types of practicing regimens, videos on transcriptions, scales, triads, arpeggios, all that different type of stuff is over there. You can go to the description below for that. If this has been helpful, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. We're going to get to a lot of really cool content coming up. And there's my second 10 minutes. So, all right. This is Korey Hicks. Thanks for joining me today, and we will see you next time. Peace.